Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and today I'm joined by Derek.
Hi, everybody.
We're back for some more Sunset Beach. These episodes were so good that we had to keep watching, so we're doing 9 episodes today. So we're going to be discussing episodes 176 to 184. So I'll roll the credits and we'll jump right in. If I was not watching these so early in the morning, I would have just been like shoveling popcorn in my mouth. I just didn't get enough.
And I've said this before in this podcast, but when the fall of 97 hits is when the show becomes so good you can't stop watching it. It's just must-see TV all around.
If this is any indication, then you're not lying.
It gets even better going from here.
Because at first I was like, oh, I wonder why he likes Kansas so much. I'm like, it doesn't really seem like anything's happening. And although a lot didn't happen in Kansas, everything else around it was crazy.
We're in Kansas for longer than you might think, so it's not over yet.
Nothing really happened new with Vanessa and Virginia. It's the same old threats.
Mhm.
Um, I did think it was funny. There was like some like party going on for Jimmy and like the football team, I think,
Yeah. Mhm.
at the
At the
at the
Disney.
Deep, which I thought was weird they were having it at a bar, but okay.
Yeah, for kids, yeah, a little weird.
And 2 kids, like, I guess were trying to hit on Annie, and she was like, "What are you gonna buy me, a Shirley Temple?"
Yeah.
Sarah Paxton is looking so good. Every time we watch, I'm just like, "Okay, girl." Like, she wears her clothes very well. She just looks amazing.
You know, she's in her 30s at this point.
Yeah, I think I read she was, like, 29 when it
Yeah,
started.
she's in her 30s at this point, and she's looking great.
Yeah.
I mean, she
Uh,
always looks good. She still looks good today. She looks exactly the same.
yeah. Um, Gosh, I don't even know where to begin because crazy stuff happened in almost every story.
Mhm,
Um I guess we can start with Caitlin, Cole, and Gregory,
mhm.
because out of all the big stories, that's the smallest, I guess.
But there was a lot happening too, but
There
yeah.
was a lot happening. So last time we watched, Jack Wagner was on playing John Luke, or just
Jock, Jock,
Jock,
yeah.
Jock, and he stole the Deschanel jewels that Olivia was wearing when they were out to dinner.
Yeah.
And then Cole disappeared, and he left Caitlin a note, but I don't remember. But I guess Gregory found it and hid it or ripped it up.
Maybe I think it was Eddie who found it for him.
Oh, Eddie found it. Okay.
Mhm,
Um, well, suffice to say, Caitlin never got it, so she doesn't know where Cole is.
mhm.
So she hires somebody to track him down while Gregory pretends to be like, "You shouldn't do that. We like him now. Like, we should trust him." Like,
Right?
just like, no.
Reverse psychology.
But we already knew that he's in Monte Carlo, but we don't really know why.
Right.
Um, he's like flirting with this woman, and I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "Is he like gonna like actually sleep with her and cheat on Caitlin?"
Mhm.
She invites him back to her room. She answers the door basically in her underwear.
Mhm.
I was like, wait, because I took a double take, 'cause I was like, "Oh, maybe it's a bathing suit," and I was like, "Nope, that's bras and
It's
panties."
her 90.
And when they started kissing, I was like, "Oh no, is he really gonna sleep with her?" I was like, "I don't know if I like this."
Yeah.
But he mentions a hot tub, so
Mhm.
she goes to, like, get it warmed up, and he does his thing. He breaks into the safe, and he finds the jewels, and he leaves. So I was like, "Okay, I could deal with a little bit of kissing." I don't
Mhm.
love it, but it's better than him sleeping with somebody else.
Yeah.
Um, Caitlin had tracked him down in Monte Carlo, and pictures were taken of him and this woman, and I
Mhm.
was laughing because it was clearly printed out on a regular black and white printer, and I was
Mhm.
like, "I remember when I used to print photos out like that."
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were not, developed film, they were just printed on a printer.
Mhm.
So then, Caitlin spirals thinking that he left her for another woman, and everything that her father thought he is.
She still wants to go to Monte Carlo, and she calls Tyus, and she's like, "Can I fly?" And he's like, "No, I can't let you fly."
That's the only thing that stopped her, I guess.
Yeah, I'm like, but it's just funny. Like she still believes in Cole, even though like she has all this information.
Did she? Because she was like on the beach crying,
She was.
and then Cole showed up,
Hmm.
and they embrace, and they're kissing.
Right. Well, she keeps saying there's a logical explanation. I know it, and then I think she goes back and forth. I think.
Yeah. Eddie swears that he's the best private detective there is. Like,
Yeah.
like he can track Cole down. He knows where he is. He's never gonna get away from him.
Uh huh.
Um, and Olivia's like trying to like interject, and Gregory's like, "Please, we're having a discussion." And she's like, "Okay."
Hmm.
And she's like, "It's just very funny because it looks like there's somebody that looks like Cole making out with Caitlyn on the beach right now." If these are the best, then it can't possibly be him.
Right. And I love how she was like, "Well, Eddie, if you're as good as you say you are, then why is my daughter taking out with Cole on the beach?"
So Gregory's pissed. And I guess at this point he wouldn't be watching because we go back to them and they're like hugging and kissing. And then when they pull away, I loved it. Caitlyn punched him in the face. It wasn't
Yeah,
a slap, it was a dead on punch to the face.
and he fell to the ground too.
I was like, oh shit. So I don't know if they showed us what he stole because I didn't know that it was the Deschanel jewels until he showed Caitlyn.
Mhm.
And even when he showed her, it didn't look like the necklace that Olivia was wearing, but I went with it. Maybe
Yeah, it was weird, but I kind of had a feeling that's what it was, but I wasn't sure either.
I also got a chuckle before he came back and everything. It was like Bet, I guess Gregory and Olivia and Annie came in. And when she found out that the jewels were taken, she was like, "Oh, my jewels?" She's like, the ones that you stole from me in the will or whatever.
Yes, Amy had some great lines in that in those scenes as well because she told Bet she had to go out, and then she said, "Fumigate, was you?" So, Olivia, so she would get rid of Olivia while she was gone.
um, Meanwhile, Annie is also still conspiring with Tim via phone while he's in Kansas and she's in Sunset Beach
Hmm.
because Ben has been emailing Meg, apologizing, trying to get her to like
Hmm.
take him back, not really understanding. I love that even Vanessa would like because she's still struggling with Virginia, wanted to call Meg and like talk to her about it. I was like, oh, I like
Hmm.
this friendship.
Yeah.
Um, I hope when she comes back, it continues.
Hmm.
Um, but she actually told Ben, she's like, I heard you. Like when she was leaving, you called her Maria. Like she flat out said
Yeah.
this. I was like, oh my god, yes.
Yes. And Ben's really confused at this point.
Yeah. So he's sent like 10 emails, and meanwhile,
Hmm.
Annie asked Bet to
Hmm.
ask one of her 7 ex-husbands, who I guess is a hacker or knows a hacker, to
Oh
like
my god.
how do you unsend an email?
It was Sven, her ex-husband. I wrote this
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
And she's like, "How's Uncle Sven?" And she goes, "He's fine." And then she says, "That man was something with a hard drive." I started dying laughing.
He always has something to say. He always has like a quip about any of them.
Yeah.
So now Annie is, being a hacker and not realistic, but for TV, I guess. In '97, you just press a bunch of buttons.
Anyone could be a hacker in '97, though. Like, I figured out, what do you call it? Like, what is that? Make a website. You had the little things.
The HTML codes.
Yes, I figured that shit out. But I don't know how to do it.
I did too. I had like an Angel Fire or a tripod.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I don't remember how to do it now. I remember the A space HREF, like to like
Mhm, exactly, yeah, yeah,
So
so
by the time MySpace came around, I was like, I know how to do this.
right?
But anyway, so she's like basically has the instructions written on like a post-it, and she's like doing whatever it says. Meanwhile, Meg is like going to check her email on the other end, and of course she's like, "Damn it, this thing keeps freezing ever since I got robbed when I first arrived in Sunset Beach." Did she ever find out that was Tiffany?
I don't think she ever did.
I think
Mm-mm.
Tiffany spent all that money, right, on
Oh,
dresses
yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. Mark knows, though, but he never told her.
Yeah, I remember him scolding her for it, but
Mhm.
yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, I don't think she ever found out about Tiffany.
There's a lot of things that never get answered, so it's sad.
Um, so yeah, because things were amping up, I was like, all right, I was like, is there a new head writer or were there new writers? So I went on the Wikipedia to find out, and it looks like there were like multiple head writers simultaneously.
It's still Guza and Meg Bennett right now.
Yeah, but then there was like associate head writers, and one of them is Paula Quickly, who is about to be one of the head writers at Days of Our Lives next month.
Yeah. Okay.
And she was at Days like 20 years ago also. So I actually liked her Days. So I wonder
Mhm.
if I'm really gonna like Sunset Beach if she's
Yeah,
involved.
because James E. Riley's influence is starting to fall as
Yeah,
well.
he's listed as a creative consultant.
Yes. So
I
this is
also
kind of where his work is
recognize
starting to come come out.
I also recognize Gary Tomlin listed as like a director producer.
Yes.
And Chris Whitesell, who was also a head writer at Days like 10 years ago, and I liked his version of Days.
He
So
will be coming head writer very soon, Chris
yeah.
Whitesell. Yeah.
Was he at One Life to Live?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
I knew
Mhm.
I recognized his name from somewhere else. Was he good at One Life to Live?
Yes, he's very good.
Okay. All right, so I'm excited. There's a lot of behind the scenes creativity happening.
Yeah.
um, so of course there's like one more email that Annie has to get to, and Meg's computer freezes. And I'm looking at that screen and I'm like, I guess they couldn't afford to like have AOL pop up as like a promotional thing.
No.
Not how the internet worked at all.
They'd probably get in trouble if they did that.
Probably. Because I remember, at least on Days with Facebook, they couldn't say it. I think
Mhm.
they say it now, but in the beginning they couldn't, and they would call it face space.
Well, they still call it, My Face on, General Hospital.
My face.
Yeah.
All right. um. So Annie is successful, and I totally forgot this. I guess she's like Ben's personal assistant now.
Yeah, and I was thinking the whole time, why doesn't Ben have passwords? Why does Annie have access to all his info? It's weird.
So now Meg is upset because she thinks Ben hasn't tried to reach out to her.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, he directly spoke to her mother.
Yes, and she never said anything to her about it, which is weird.
No.
Yeah.
Um, she also asks Tim if to give Meg space
Mhm.
until she like because she's not over Ben and she needs to figure it out. And of course, he says yes, but he's not.
Right.
Um, but I was really enjoying the exterior shots outside.
Of Kansas.
Yeah, because there was like one shot of him. I think he was on the phone with Annie, and you saw like the corn stalks in the background.
Mhm.
The scene where Meg's mom was talking to him, he was like next to a pickup truck, and there was like barns in the background. I was like, I like this change of scenery.
Mhm. Yeah.
it's it's nice. I could watch a show with this as the background.
Mhm.
um, I was laughing every time Meg looked at a picture of her and Ben. I was like, when was that photo taken? You guys were never together and happy. Like you were together for 5 minutes. When did you have time to take happy photos together?
Yeah. Interesting. One thing we forgot to mention last time that I wanted to mention is that Joe never told Meg's father, Hank, about Tim cheating on her. And so Hank is still team Meg and Tim. And it's really funny
Oh,
because he was kind of campaigning for her to them to get back together uh, in those scenes that they had together.
oh. So he just thinks like his daughter just like had a mental break and left town.
Well, he knows about that she left Sunset Beach or she left Kansas for Sunset Beach because of this guy she was involved with on the internet. He does know that much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tim cheating, we saw Connie, who we haven't seen since the pilot. I don't think it's the same actress.
We're not saying that. I was going to mention that.
Um, she She was supposed to be Meg's maid of honor, which means she must have been very close to Meg, if not her best friend.
It was her best
And
friend.
she has no problem reigniting this affair with Tim. I'm like, you suck as a friend.
Mhm. Well, yeah, because Tim was like, "Yeah, you need to convince Meg that you came on to me," and she's like, "Okay." So she like wants to get back together with him, and he's like, "No, I'm could try to be with Meg. I can't do that."
I don't
So
know.
now his loyalty is with Meg, but where was it when they were going to get married? I don't know.
I don't even trust that once he's with Meg, that or if that ever were to happen, that he would stay loyal. Like I feel like he'd just fall back into his own.
Yeah. Mhm.
uh, and then they're like at some local bar later, and there's like all these couples, and they think that her and Tim are together. One of them wasn't in town for the wedding, and they think the wedding happened.
Yeah, that was really funny.
um,
A lot of line dancing and a lot of like country
it
music.
was interesting to see Meg line dancing because I
Yeah,
Tim could pulls off the country boy thing, but I don't really buy her as a country girl. She looks more cosmopolitan.
yeah, I agree. Susan Ward is not a Kansas girl.
But she did
Even
a
though
good
she's from
job.
Louisiana, like she's not.
She did a good job line dancing, though. I can't line
Yeah,
dance.
she did do a good job. Mhm. She
Um,
looks so beautiful in these episodes, by the way, Susan Ward. Like she looks amazing.
I knew her hair had grown out, but I didn't
Mhm,
realize how much until they showed an older photo with her with the shorter hair. I was like, "Oh, wow, it
mhm.
really has grown out."
Yeah, and I mean, she's gorgeous. She looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Um, there was a scene with Mark, where he looked like he had, like, highlights in his hair, and I was,
Mhm.
like, trying to remember, I was like, "Did he have those highlights when Bride of Chucky came out?" And I was like, "Was he when did he film?" Because he also looks more built,
He looks more built, yeah.
and I'm like, "He looked like that in Bride of Chucky," so I'm like, "I wonder when that was filmed."
Mm. Maybe it was 98, I don't
It
know.
came out in '98, so if it
It's
was
maybe
filmed, it would've been early '98.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, he probably left Sunset Beach at the end of '97, so maybe that's it. I don't know. But it came out you said it came out in the beginning of '98?
It came out in, the fall of '98, which means if it
We
was
probably
filmed
shot
in
it at the beginning
'98,
of '98,
it was
yeah.
probably
Mhm. Yeah.
that's the soonest.
Mhm.
Or now.
Mhm.
Um, alright, so who should we move on to? Oh, I guess we could keep talking about Annie because there were so many layers to the story.
Oh my god, it was so good.
So, Ben goes back to his hypnotherapist to discuss what's going on with him,
Mhm.
and she says she records all her sessions, she can listen back to the tape
Mhm.
and see, if anything could have triggered this. And
Mhm.
I still wasn't catching on that Annie was gonna be on there, I didn't even think about that.
Mhm.
And then she went to go get to her assistant who's never at the desk, ever.
Never.
And Ben's had already left, and she hears Annie's voice when she was, like, basically hypnotizing him to say Maria.
Mhm. Yeah.
So now she has the proof.
Mhm.
So she went to Ben's house, correct?
Yes.
And Annie was there
Ellen. Mhm.
working.
Mhm.
And she realizes that she's caught because she basically threatens her that, "I know that
Mhm.
you did this, I'm gonna tell him." And I'm like, "Oh shit, how is she gonna get out of this?"
Yeah.
Annie makes tea, and she drugs the tea, and I'm still like, "Okay, but what are you gonna do with her body? You can't just, like,
Mhm.
have her how are you gonna silence her permanently without killing her?"
Right.
I had no idea where this was going at all.
Yeah, I don't think Annie did either. She was just improvising.
And I was like, "At Sunset Beach," I'm like, "So something crazy is probably gonna happen, like she accidentally dies by tripping or something." So I was just like, "Okay." I mean, this is the show that put Annie, like, in a crematorium, so
Exactly.
I went with it. She passed out. She calls Bet. I love Bet and Annie's antics, and I love that, Eddie got involved.
I was surprised that went along with this because she was like, you shouldn't try to be with Ben, this, that, and the third before, and now she's like going along with Annie, and it was just really funny turnaround for me.
Yeah, at the end of the day, though, she's gonna help Annie.
Well,
Like
yeah, that's her
she
niece. I
can say
get
what she wants, but she's gonna help her. She's
it.
more of a mom to her. We said this than her actual mom.
Mhm.
So Ben's now home and they have to like dispose of the body pretty much, and they like put her in the closet. And like I thought it was funny how she was laying, how her arm was just like
Right,
hanging.
and Ben was there. That was great.
And Ben thinks like Annie's acting weird, and he like wants her to get out of there. And she's like, "All right, well, let me just like clean up and I'll get out of here."
Yeah.
So then like her and Ben like are like dragging the body, and she basically leaves the body in Beth's arms as she closes the front door as like Ben's like coming down the stairs.
Yes.
Is Beth just like with the body? But she's like sitting with her on a bench, which I don't think that bench has ever been there. That was just there for plot purposes.
Right?
And her and did Eddie show up at this point and he helped them, or did they get away with the
I think
body?
they called Eddie later, yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if like we're going for a mutual admiration with Bette and Eddie, but I'm not against maybe a sexual thing with them. I'm kind of feeling it.
I love their relationship. I really do. It develops even more and more, and it's really great. I loved it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what are we doing here? Are we friends or is this gonna be something else?
I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna tell you.
Whatever it is, they have good chemistry.
Yes.
Whether it's them
Sure.
just scheming together or if it goes that way.
Mhm.
So this is when I texted you because I could not believe that they were doing this. They would never do this on TV unless it was like a streamer. Um,
Mhm.
she's passed out so from the drugs, and
Mhm.
they basically strip her down to her underwear, which she was wearing like lingerie. Now I don't know if that's actually what she was wearing or if they changed her
I
into
had
that.
that question too, but they did answer it later. It was Annie's. They put her in that.
Okay, I didn't hear
Yeah,
that
yeah.
because I was like, yeah, she just casually dresses in
I
lingerie to
was
go.
like, "That's what she wears underneath her clothes, really?" And then they said that they set it up. That was, for the pictures. They put that on her.
Okay, so granted, we're,
Yeah.
we'll try to make this better. We'll say the women changed her.
I would
They
hope
still
so.
violated her. She was passed out and they got her naked and they like,
And they put new clothes on her. Yeah, that's still
yes.
not good.
And then just the whole scenario of him being on top of her to make it look like they had done something sexual together. It
Mhm.
was very cringy.
Mhm.
Um, I was kind of going back and forth because I loved the drama that it was creating,
Mhm.
and I would love for a show to be risky like this and not care about the good or the bad,
Mhm.
reactions to it because it was entertaining to watch. I will give them that.
Yeah, it was.
As problematic as it was.
Mhm.
um, so yeah, I don't know how much drugs she gave her, but this woman was passed out.
Mhm.
And they took photos. Eddie goes to develop them. Bet went with him.
Mhm.
And they put her in Annie's bed to sleep it off, I guess.
Mhm.
And Ben comes by and she's like, "Oh shit." Annie like wants to get him out of there and he like thinks that she has a guy in her room. So he like wants to like embarrass her by like going up there to meet the guy.
Oh my god.
And then the therapist wakes up
Mhm.
and she comes downstairs in her lingerie and she kind of passes out again.
Right. After Ben's like, "What is she doing here? What's going on?"
And Annie says that she is having an affair with this woman.
And Ben's reaction is priceless. Oh my
They
god.
wouldn't say they didn't say gay though. She just said that like they like skirted around the word.
Right. And Ben's not buying. He's like, "Annie, you love men. I don't know what's going on here."
And she basically was like, "How dare you like not accept like my relationship with this woman?" I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "I have to keep watching."
Oh my god.
um, I was not expecting her to come to
Mhm.
and to be able to blurt out that Annie is the one that basically interfered with his hypnosis.
Yes.
that I was because it's like the beginning of October we're in now, so I'm like,
Mhm.
wow, this isn't even sweeps, and it's crazy.
Mhm.
So that was a lot of fun. Um,
Also, I thought it was really funny that Annie was wearing the same clothes she was wearing earlier, and she said they had a girls' night out, and I'm like, "You're in those same clothes you were wearing earlier."
um, I think. Oh, so she like chases Ben back to his house.
Mhm,
He goes to check his email,
mhm.
and Tim had wrote a fake email pretending to be Meg, saying that she realized that she's in love with Tim and she's gonna marry him. Don't respond and never speak to me again, basically.
Basically, yeah.
So he gets angry and he picks up the laptop and he throws it at the beach. And I'm like, that's a pretty expensive thing to be just throwing away.
And then
But
Annie looks like she's fearing for her life at that point too, and he, like, walks by her, and I was
yeah,
like,
she's like this as he like.
I thought he was gonna choke her, like, or something.
So my guess, because Ben can't just let anything go like Meg or
Mhm.
Annie. My guess, him storming out, he's probably going to Kansas,
You'll see.
but I don't know. We'll see.
185, which we're gonna watch on Patreon, is
Hmm.
a big Ben and Meg moment, and
Ooh,
it's really good, so get ready.
okay. We saw Casey, but very briefly in like seeing. He's
Mhm,
mostly a talk to at this point.
mhm,
I actually saw a video promo for when his mom came recently,
mhm. Yeah.
and they tried to make it seem like who's this woman in his life, and I'm like, it's his mom. Relax.
Mhm,
So they try to make it like sexual.
mhm.
Um. So yeah, I is that everybody before we get to Gabby and
Um,
Margot?
I did wanna say one thing about Virginia and Vanessa and Michael before
Uh-huh.
we get to that. I love how devious Virginia's getting, and it's only gonna get better from here.
Good. Good. So Paula's back finally,
Mhm.
and I was happy to see her. Didn't really make any difference though. She cut her hair.
Well
Her hair was a little bit shorter.
well, it's like the beginning of the end, so
I
for
could see
Paula.
I could see that.
Mhm.
Also side note, Elaine, she says she's friends with Bet and Olivia, but I feel like she wants to fight them every time she
She
sees them
does, and
when
she
it comes to
says,
Cole.
"Hell have no fury like a mother scorned," or something like that, whatever she said
I
to
feel like
Elise.
she comes in with an attitude, ready to fight them.
She does. I'm like, "This is how you talk to your friends?"
But yeah, that was pretty much it for her. I was just like, "Do you like them? Like, are you friends? Like, I don't think you are."
Yeah, I
Okay.
was very confused.
All right, so Gabby.
Here we
She's still
go.
working at the police station. Paula comes back, and of course, the first thing she sees is Gabby talking to Ricardo, and she gets the wrong idea, or she gets all in her feelings about it. And it's almost like we're back at the beginning of the show. Eddie's like so happy to see her and wanting to take her
Mhm,
out, and she's all like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And I'm just like, "Oh, okay,
mhm,
right back to the beginning."
mhm,
So it's this thing called Tequila Sunrise at the Deep, which they mentioned before. That must be like their happy hour or something. And she goes out with him, and Gabby's working. Did she didn't tell Ricardo that Paul was gonna be there, right? He went on his own, or did she do something to
She
get
found out from the police chief that Paula was coming back, but she didn't she set up this scenario so Paula would find them together.
right? And then she pretended like she didn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So he shows up, sees Paula sitting at a table with Eddie laughing, and he like is very dismissive of Gabby, but he's like, but she's working, so he's like, "Get me a tequila." So she
Mhm.
goes to Mark and she's like, "Get me a tequila." And she's like, make it a double."
Oh, yeah, she's trying to get him drunk.
So then she gave him multiple doubles.
Mhm. So
And
she
of course
planned the whole thing.
mhm. And of course he gets into a fight with Eddie, punches him.
Mhm.
They Paul and her kind of break it up.
So that leads me to a question about Eddie. Do
Mhm.
they I guess they don't know, they're never gonna find out about Paula. him being Paula's kidnapper. Like, I don't know if that ever gets resolved or not, but they still don't know at this point, correct?
No, they basically blamed it on that guy that put the
Ross
tattoo
Myers,
on her.
yeah.
Yeah, they just let
Mhm.
him take the fall for it.
Right.
So I guess
Mhm.
Eddie got away with that.
Yeah. Another unresolved story.
Yeah, it's like almost like you can get away with bad things on this without repercussion.
Mhm.
Um, so Gabby, Ricardo goes home.
Mhm.
He goes to his jukebox. He puts on the one song they play for him and Paula, and they show flashbacks to their one sex scene from like episode 2. I like that sex scene because when he pulls his shirt down, he's wearing like his tidy whities and he has a nice butt. So it's like a quick
Mhm.
shot, but I'm always like, they're like Calvins. um, so yeah, so they have a flashback to that. Gabby comes in, not in her uniform, so she changed before she came.
Mhm.
Um, Ricardo had flipped the chair over, so she like kind of tidies everything up,
Mhm.
talks to him. Um, and she basically admits that she's always wanted Ricardo. Like she just like puts it all on the line.
Mhm.
And they start kissing. And then it
Mhm.
got really hot and heavy. And he took her on the table. I was like, oh, okay.
Mhm. Yeah, he did.
So then the aftermath.
Mhm.
At first I thought maybe it was a dream. I was like, I hate getting got with these dreams. I didn't know if like he was thinking it or if Gabby was just being insecure and dreaming, having a nightmare of him
Mhm.
all over her. But literally cuts to the scene and he's like, this was a mistake. First thing out of his mouth. I'm like, ooh.
Mhm.
So then I'm like, this could be a nightmare Gabby's having, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And it's never going to happen again. Why would you say, if it was a mistake, why would you say make love? Just say you had sex.
I think he hesitated when he said "made love" because he said "made" and then he said "love." Like he paused for a minute.
Just say you had sex then. Love had nothing to do
Yeah,
with it.
yeah.
It was physical.
I agree. I had the same thought.
Save made love for the
I
person who
feel
hurt
like
you.
back then they never said the word sex. It was always "make love." Like I feel like that's all that's how they could refer to it.
Maybe they couldn't say it
Yeah.
often in daytime, and that's why
I
they
don't
say
know.
make love. I
Maybe
don't
that. Yeah, that's probably why.
Or maybe because sex sounds less romantic, and that's why. I don't
No.
know. But basically crushes Gabby, like brings her to
Mhm.
tears, says he's gonna shower, change, and then bring her back
Take
to
her home.
like, take her
Mhm.
home. So now she's like hysterical. And this is when I was like, I hope she's not about to do what I think she's gonna do. Nothing's even happened yet. I just see like how broken she is, and I'm just like, she seems like a vengeful person. I'm like, but I hope they don't do what I think they're gonna do. And
Mhm.
then she cut herself somehow, grabbing her clothes, and I was like, "Oh god, I think they're gonna do." This
She
is
was
what I was
caught
texting.
in the
I was
bed.
like, I hope she doesn't do what I think she's gonna do.
Well, it got caught underneath the bed, so she pulled it out, and then she ended up cutting her, like, the side of her wrist, or, like,
Yeah.
underneath her arm or something.
So then she's like, "Screw him," I guess, and she's just gonna like run out. And Paul is at the door
Mhm.
and sees her a mess. Like her hair is disheveled. She's not fully clothed.
And
She's
she's bleeding.
hysterical, crying. And then she's like, "Tell me what happened." And then I saw it like in her eye. I saw the idea, like the light bulb, and I was like, "Oh no." And she says she was raped, and I was like, I, I texted you, I'm like, and she did it.
Yeah.
Didn't say what it was, but you knew because you've seen it. But
Oh, yeah, I knew. Well, I wasn't there yet, I was almost there, and I was like, "Oh, he's there."
I was like, what? And that's how the episode ended. So of course I was like, well, thank God I get to watch the next one.
Mhm.
Now we're already into the extra episodes we decided to watch.
Mhm.
um, yeah, I couldn't believe they did that. And I texted you this. I don't know how you come back from a false rape accusation.
It's, it's hard. Yeah.
So I was thinking about it when like my mind was spinning. And the only thing I could think is that she actually gets assaulted and they think she's crying wolf, and it's this whole thing, like a redemption thing, where she needs to be rescued or she killed her attacker or I don't know,
I
something.
won't tell you what happened, but I will give you a hint.
Okay.
I felt like Gabrielle genuinely believed that she was raped in those scenes with Ricardo. She looked very, very hurt,
Broken.
broken. Yeah.
I was thinking about that too. She wasn't the drunk one though. She got him drunk.
No. Mm-mm.
So if anything, an argument can be made that she took advantage of him.
Correct. And she kind of did actually.
I
She got
mean,
him drunk and then she got him to have sex with her. So yeah, she
yeah,
definitely manipulated the situation.
I this is gonna be rough.
Yeah.
So let's get back to this. So then Ricardo comes out of the bathroom with his shirt
Hmm.
unbuttoned, and Paula is like just putting the pieces together with how everything looks.
Hmm.
And then he's like, "What?"
Hmm.
And he actually gets like physically violent and like grabs Gabby so much so that Paula pulls a gun on him.
I could not believe
I was like,
that.
"What is happening?"
I didn't remember that either, and I was like, "Oh my god."
Oh, oh my god. All right. So she ends up taking Gabby to the hospital to get her checked out.
Mhm,
And I guess Ricardo ran off because she's like on the phone with the police. She's like trying to get them to do an all points bulletin on him. Um,
mhm,
she's asking Gabby questions, and Gabby's like, I really don't want to like talk about it right now. And she's
mhm,
like, I'm just trying to prepare you for because you're gonna have to answer questions tomorrow. And she's like, I'm
mhm,
gonna have to talk about it. And then she brings up the DA, and Gabby looks like she's like, DA. She's like, Ugh. So
mhm.
then she says, Paul, I have to tell you something, and you're not gonna be happy with me or something like that.
Right.
But then she gets a call that they can't find Ricardo.
Mhm,
And do you still want the APB? And she kind of like looks at Gabby like, what do you want me to do?
mhm,
And it looks like they're calling that off, but they're still gonna like patrol the neighborhood looking for Ricardo. This is when Mark shows up, and this is when I noticed that he had like looked buffer and his hair was a little had highlights and stuff.
mhm,
He's at the hospital because he brought clothes that Paul asked him to bring. And he immediately, because he's already like suspicious of the situation because Gabby's made him think
mhm,
that Ricardo's been harassing her, that he puts it together right away that Ricardo allegedly raped her. And so he's pissed and he wants to kill him.
mhm.
And then Ricardo shows up and he like grabs him and I'm like, oh yeah, assaulting a police officer. This is gonna be
Yeah,
really
great job, Mark.
I was like, this isn't gonna end well for you.
No. And okay, question. What happened to Mark's whole VJ thing? Did they just drop that?
Well, they mentioned it that night when
Uh,
because
at the Jeep, right.
Nessa showed
Mhm,
up and um Michael said, "Do you want to dance?" But she was like, "There's no music," and he's like, "Oh, Mark must be on break." And
mhm,
that was when Michael's like, "We should go away. Like, let's just go away for a few days and like just the two of us."
mhm.
And she's like, "Yeah,
Right.
our relationship could really use it." Like, so they lightly mentioned it. I guess the VH1 thing's over because Cynthia's that VJ's not around and whatever that
Right.
was.
Mhm. Yeah.
Another top storyline.
Right.
Just because
Mhm.
Tiffany was involved in that storyline, I don't know.
That's probably why they dropped it.
um,
Well, also the writers are changing, so that's probably another reason.
yeah, they're probably just getting rid of what is not working,
Mhm.
kind of resetting the show. Um, yeah, so how did it end? That was how it ended, right? Was with Mark pretty much attacking Ricardo.
Yes, and he goes in to see Gabby and comforts her. That's pretty much how it ended.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. I
We'll find out.
I don't even because I know there's some crazy people creatively behind the scenes. I don't know like what they're gonna do.
You're in for a wild ride, my friend. Get ready.
I actually really love that I don't know something for a show that's old.
Mhm. Yeah,
So yeah.
but I loved all these episodes. I'm so glad, like, we got to watch them. They were great. I have a couple things.
We're definitely in have surpassed the era like that I had watched even if I was half asleep because I don't know any of this.
Yeah. Okay, one thing I want to say is I feel like okay, I could really see the chemistry between Tim and Meg and Kansas. I mean, I know everyone's team Ben and Meg. I'm team Ben and Meg, of course. Always rooted for them, but I do still see the chemistry between Tim and Meg.
I do too. I was actually thinking Tim was very cute in
Tim was
this.
really cute in these episodes. I was like, "Damn, I love Dax Griffin. What is he nice he's a good-looking guy." You know what's funny? I just found out he, is a realtor in Atlanta. He's from here originally.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mhm.
I had recently, a few months ago, found out he was also on Bold in like 2004 or 5-ish. So I'm like, oh, maybe I need to go check out those
He was
episodes.
on All My Children as well. He was the DA in 2004.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. Mhm.
Sarah Buxton was on Days as a inmate in 2004,
Mhm. Yeah.
but she was also on Bold. Yeah,
Oh, also, I thought it was really funny that Oz was Meg's password.
that's it. 2 letters.
2 letters, that was it. That's all you need in 1997, I guess, for a password.
No caps, no like special
No
symbols, like
special
exclamation
characters,
points,
just Oz.
no numbers.
Oh, one thing we didn't talk about was when Cole broke into the doctor's office to look at Olivia's file, and
Right.
he found Olivia's records, and found the record of the appointment. It said Olivia Colton, and I laughed when he was like, "The baby must be
Uh-huh.
mine."
Because originally, when he got into the file cabinet, there was no
Yeah,
Olivia Richards file, so he's like, "Fuck,
right,
this doesn't make any
exactly.
sense." So
Mm,
he's like, "I'll just go to the date of the appointment," and that's when he's like, he didn't see her name, but he saw Olivia Cole, and he was like, "That baby must be mine." And I'm just like,
I just started laughing. It was so funny. And also,
um,
Cole had Bet call Olivia and arrange a meeting. So Cole's going to show up to this meeting coming up in the next episode. I guess we're watching for the next couple. But yeah,
yeah, I laughed because she called him Dimples in that scene.
that's Dimples.
She did it because he held something over her where she could lose her job.
Hmm.
Gregory found out, so that's why she did it.
Yeah.
Um, oh, there was something else with Olivia that I was like,
Oh, she won't. There was her pregnancy was high risk. Gregory and Olivia lied and said her pregnancy was high risk to Caitlin and Sean.
oh, so this is what it was with Olivia.
Yeah.
She went to go see the doctor
Oh,
and to talk about the amnio, and he said that they messed up in the lab or something, so they basically have to redo it, and it's gonna take like I think he said 5 or 6 weeks.
for the amniotic fluid to like regenerate.
Yeah, and he said this isn't gonna tell you who the father is, and I'm like,
Well,
I thought this a while back, but I was just like, all right, let's see what happens. But yeah, you don't have the DNA of the father, so like,
Neither. Right. And he even said that. Olivia's like, well, why didn't you tell me this before?
right, I thought about this months ago.
This is just how they're dragging out revealing who the father is.
I mean, we know. I mean, right? I mean,
I know. I don't know if you know.
I know, but like, are we supposed to know, or are we just knowing because we know? Like, I'm trying to think,
At
like,
this
is
point, the
it
viewer has no idea who the father of the baby is.
okay, then maybe it's just like, subconsciously because I already know that I'm just like
Right.
projecting that onto the show.
Yeah. I I don't think we find out till 1999. So it's a while.
What?
Yes.
Is she gonna be like pregnant past 9 months? Is this gonna be like an elephant pregnancy where she's like
Okay,
13
so
months pregnant?
Leslie Ann Down is pregnant in real life, by the way. She's
Oh, is
pregnant.
she?
Yes.
Okay.
So I feel like they wrote this storyline for her pregnancy, but she's pregnant longer than she should be, in my opinion, because she doesn't give birth till February. So, and that's almost a year because the Cole and Olivia had sex in March of '97, I think.
February, I think it was around Valentine's Day.
Was it around Valentine's? So she's pregnant for like a year at
Oh,
least.
okay.
Yeah. But maybe it has to do with her real life pregnancy. Maybe they
Yeah,
wrote it in like when they found out she was pregnant, and then that's how it worked out.
okay. I know, I don't remember what show it was, but there was a soap opera where somebody was pregnant for 13 months.
I mean, Olivia's gonna be pregnant for 13
Yeah.
months.
It's an elephant pregnancy. That's what it
Yeah.
is. The gestation
Yeah.
cycle.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Wow, I can't believe that's gonna go on that long, but alright.
Mhm.
There's nothing else with Caitlyn, right? She tried to she tried to convince Sean to have faith in Cole, but he's not buying it because he's still bitter about Tiffany. And he ended up calling Cole's ex-fiance, who's Finola Hughes. We saw Finola Hughes.
Yeah, Helena, that's her name.
And he like explained about his sister, and so now she's on board because she doesn't want another girl to be hurt like she was. So I'm like, oh,
Right.
what's gonna
Mhm.
happen?
Yes, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I love these
There's
little cameos.
there's so much that happened in these episodes. It's like insane. It was like a train ride.
Yeah. So I think we're on like October 6th or 7th right now.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
we're almost to
Mhm.
November sweeps. I can't wait.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to add before we go?
No, I think I have everything.
This was a very, very good set of episodes. I can't wait to watch more, which you can watch the next episode with us over on our Patreon at patreon.com/queers and soaps. We're going to be watching episode 85.
185.
Oh, sorry, 185. um, Derek said he can't wait to see my reaction, so who knows what's going to happen.
Okay, if you know, you know. Because
Okay.
if you're a big Meg fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So come and join
Okay.
us and watch. It's really great.
All right. Well, we'll see you over on Patreon for episode 185. And as always, you can find us on all the other socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great night.
Good
Bye.
night.